सकाळ समूहाच्या वतीने मी आपल्या सर्वांचं आज स्वागत करते. आपल्या सर्वांना माहिती आहे की खास करून मागच्या लॉकडाऊन पासून सकाळने आपले बरेचसे नवीन उपक्रम सुरू केले आहेत. त्यातलं आपलं आहे आपली हेल्पलाईन जी आहे, सकाळ सोबत बोलूया. आपण एक मेंटल वेबसाईट सुद्धा सुरू केली. बरेचसे आपले मेंटल हेल्थ रिलेटेड उपक्रम आपण त्यात घेतो. त्या वेबसाईटचं आहे www.waitt.in. त्याशिवाय आपण NIEच्या माध्यमातून आपण बरेचसे शिक्षक, खास करून भारतीय शिक्षक, वेगळ्या वेगळ्या प्रांतातले शाळेतले शिक्षकांना आपण आमंत्रित केलं की ते त्यांचे ग्लोबल टीचिंग प्रॅक्टिसेस काय त्यांनी नवीन केलं या खास करून डिजिटल युगामध्ये. त्यांनी आपल्या शाळांमध्ये कुठले नवीन उपक्रम केले, कुठली नवीन काय थ्रू व्हिडिओ गेम्स असतील, काहींनी थ्रू म्युझिक त्यांनी वेगळ्या वेगळ्या पद्धतीने करिक्युलम मुलांपर्यंत कसं पोचवावं आणि ते त्यांना कसं शिकण्यामध्ये, खास करून आपण आज घरी बसून आपण लॉकडाऊन मध्ये आपण शिकतो आहोत, तर ते त्याचे सगळे जे चॅलेंजेस आहेत ते बरेचशा शिक्षकांनी तुमच्या सर्वांशी शेअर केले की ते त्या चॅलेंजेसला त्यांनी कशी मात दिली आहे. आज आपला अगदी खूप खास पाहुणे आहेत आपले, जे नायजेरियावरून खास करून आले आहेत आणि ते आज त्यांनी शिक्षणात त्यांच्या नायजेरियाच्या गावात त्यांनी शिक्षणामध्ये काय नवीन केलं, कसं त्यांच्याकडे कमीत कमी रिसोर्सेस होते पण त्यात त्यांनी खूप इनोव्हेटिव्ह प्रॅक्टिसेस मुलांबरोबर वेगळ्या आपल्या बाकीच्या कलीग्स टीचर्सना एकत्र घेऊन त्यांनी कसं नवीन घडवलं. आज ते आपल्याबरोबर त्यांचे टीचिंग प्रॅक्टिसेस काय ते आपल्याशी शेअर करणार आहेत. त्यांचं आज मी छोट्याशा याच्यामध्ये त्यांच्याबद्दल माहिती सांगते. आजचे आपले गेस्ट आहेत Olasunkanmi Opeifa. Welcome, Olasunkanmi. Thank you so much for being here for our webinar. Thank you for interacting, coming here, giving your time and explaining and telling us what all your teaching practices, sharing your teaching practices with all our teachers today. एक थोडक्यात मी त्यांच्याबद्दल इंग्रजीमध्ये सांगते. हा वेबिनार पूर्णपणे इंग्रजी या भाषेतच होणार आहे, पण कोणाला काही नाही समजलं तर नक्की तुम्ही चॅटमध्ये लिहा. आपण एक सगळ्यात शेवटी मराठी भाषेत त्याची एक समरी घेऊ. तुम्हाला काही प्रश्न खास करून त्यांच्यासाठी विचारायचे असतील तर तुम्ही ते टाईप करा. मी त्यांना परत इंग्लिशमध्ये सांगेन आणि ते त्या प्रश्नांची उत्तरं देतील. एक थोडक्यात सांगते यांची माहिती. Olasunkanmi decided that he would become a teacher at a very young age of 8 years and has never wavered in his choice, despite teachers having very low status in Nigeria. In 2012, Olasunkanmi moved to Government Day Secondary School, Karu, a school in a semi-rural area of Abuja serving children of low-income earners in the civil service, market traders, and artisans. Students often cannot afford textbooks or the heavily subsidized school fees. In a country where education is often seen as unnecessary for financial success and the curriculum is often irrelevant to the 21st century, it is very difficult to make students see school as a solution to hunger and poverty. With more than 50 students per class, Olasunkanmi grappled with teaching English to children who had poor writing skills, some degree of reading disability, and relative poverty. Olasunkanmi has turned this situation around by using edutainment, fun-based learning, online videos, and flipped classroom model in his teaching. He has also published a book on learning English in order to reach more students beyond his community. He introduced free weekend tutorials in order to cover the syllabus with them. In 2018, Olasunkanmi was awarded Maltina Teacher of the Year, Best Teacher in Nigeria, and in 2019, his school was among the top 10 schools nationwide in Global Diamond Challenge. He was also the finalist of the Global Teacher Award. आणि आज ते आपल्या सर्वांशी शेअर करणार आहेत की 21st सेंचुरीचे कुठले स्किल्स आज टीचर्सनी समजण्यात शिकण्यात आज खूप जास्त गरजेचं आहे. आणि जेव्हा मी त्यांचं हे पूर्ण प्रेझेंटेशन बघितलं आणि त्यांच्याशी डिस्कस केलं तर हे स्किल्स फक्त टीचर्ससाठीच नाही पण आपल्या सर्वांसाठी हे 21st सेंचुरीचे स्किल्स अतिशय महत्वपूर्ण आहेत. आणि आय कांट वेट Olasunkanmi for you to share everything with our teachers. So I hand it over to you now and to your presentation.
Wow, thank you so much, my good friend. Namaste. As I learned the greeting, I'm really elated. I'm glad to be here and to be a special guest in the organization and in the entire country, India. So I say good morning from Nigeria and good afternoon, I guess, in India. So I'm going to quickly jump on the presentation now, and I believe there will be questions and answer at the end of the day. The introduction has been done well. I think that should just be the summary of everything about this young man sitting in front of you, Olasunkanmi Opeifa, a teacher in Nigeria. Yes, truly, I decided to be a teacher when I was just 8, and that tells us about discovery of oneself. But I'm not going into that direction now. We just want to look at the background to what makes some of us innovative. You know, you see us, people say, yes, that teacher is creative, that teacher is innovative there, but it's not just the fact that we are coming out to produce results alone. There are certain underlying factors. There are certain things that we have done in the background that are really helping us today now to creatively produce solutions for certain things in our education. And little did we know that these solutions will go beyond our local community. These solutions now have gone beyond the Nigeria and has gone beyond African as a continent, and then it's becoming like a globally acceptable. And I count a big privilege to be named as one of the top 10 in the world under Global Teacher Prize because of some of these things I'm using. And it is my privilege today to share this with you. I'm going to be sharing my screen quickly with you. Okay. Um, Pardon me, I am not 100% used to Zoom. I need to take this away.
Any help,
Okay,
Olasunkanmi?
yeah, I'm fine. I'm about to, I just want to blow it up. Yes, I think the screen is full now. So I believe you can see the full screen from my PowerPoint. Uh, Sorry, there's a transition going on downward. Am I permitted to continue with it or I can just stop it? Can you see a translation going on
Yes,
beneath?
yes. That's okay. Let it be. I think for those who
Okay.
didn't understand.
I thought I deactivated it earlier.
No
Okay.
problem.
All right, thank you. So now we want to look at the path less taken by teachers, the path that teachers hardly look at. Oftentimes we jump on the fact that we want the student to learn, cram, produce results, give us A's, give us B's, and then go out of school like that. But there are certain things that we teachers actually need to inculcate into ourselves as professionals, and before we can give it out to students. There's a saying in my country here, and I believe it's popular everywhere in the world, that you cannot give what you don't have. You can only give what you have. So you as a teacher, if you want to make students creative, if you want to make them innovative, you want to make them collaborate, you want to tell them about self-regulation, how much of this have you inculcated in yourself as a teacher? So we are going to be looking at the background to pedagogical innovative practices, the things that you also just naturally need to have as a teacher. And as a person, I was able to discover this in myself also, that yes, I didn't just wake up to become the best teacher in Nigeria, one of the top 10 in the globe, but I must have been doing certain things. So I reached into my inner self and I discovered this. So I'm going to take the first one quickly because I think I still have another thing to do with 30 minutes of my time. So I move on to the first thing on the slide here, apart from this introduction now, and that is empathy. Empathy is key. Empathy is that soft skill that every teacher needs to have. You cannot be a teacher if you cannot step into the shoes of your student and feel exactly the way they feel. Every teacher who wants to be a successful teacher must also be a learner of his own subject, and it starts from there. And that is empathy for you. Let me take my slide, the points one by one. Empathy makes you to see from the eyes of the other person. And as a teacher, we should be able to see from the eyes of our students. We should be able to see things from the eyes of our students all the time, not just we come to a class with a well-prepared mind. No, every single teacher should be able to see things from the mind, from the eyes of the student there. If you want to be a successful teacher, you need to teach from their perspective. You don't just come with your own knowledge and say, okay, this is what I want you to achieve today now. This is what I want to drop into your mind now, and then you jump on like that. So as a good teacher, the first skills you need to achieve first is empathy. Step into their shoes, see the way they see. Let me use myself as an example here now quickly. When I started teaching, especially in this FCT, I discovered that compared to my students in Lagos State, that's about 12 hours away from here, the students here were different. They could not understand the way I was teaching. So I had to look at, okay, how do they learn? So I discovered that I think they want to just enjoy school. They want to come and have fun. Then I discovered that, okay, they love singing. And then gradually I started inculcating songs into my lesson because I want to teach from their perspective. Somebody has said, if they cannot learn the way you teach, then why not teach the way they learn? And one of the ways they learn in 21st century is through fun. I tell my students, it is not worth learning if it is not fun. Anytime I come to your class and you do not laugh, or you do not smile, or you do not feel entertained, then I've not taught. You should feel it because entertainment goes straight into the mind of the student. Let me shock you. There is this that you know, that if I come here and I crack a joke now, you will not forget. If I crack a joke, if I do something funny, if I dance here, you will hardly forget. But if I just come and I do it the way I'm doing now, you are likely going to forget it, apart from the fact that, okay, I have slides in front of me. So basically, every teacher needs to have what we call empathy. You need to learn how to step into the shoes of your students, see the way they see, and then teach them that way. So I move on quickly to the next slide. The next slide, after you have become empathetical with your student, the next thing is critical thinking and problem solving. Yes, you have stepped into their roles, you stepped into their shoes, you are seeing things from their perspective. Now, how are you solving their problem? Now, you are not solving their problem because you are an adult and then you feel your problem is that you must go and cram everything. No, you as a teacher now, you must imbibe what you call critical thinking as a soft skill. And critical thinking towards problem solving, not critical thinking towards condemning children. So critical thinking here is the ability to think beyond the norm and the limitedness of the resources around you. Yes, that's critical thinking. There are no resources around you enough. Yes, you don't have computers, you don't have the gadget. Yes, let me tell you, look at me in that picture there. I believe you can see my picture there. You can see a student in front of me dancing. Now, this was when we were teaching letter writing. And I discovered that there's a dance in my country called shaku shaku, where you beat your two arms together and then you shake your head and then you tap your feet. Now, this you are going to use 5 parts of your body to do this. Now, this is the work of critical thinking. I've been seeing my students dance like this. Then I need to teach them essay writing. Essay writing in our country here, we have 5 paragraphs, minimum of 5 paragraphs. Now, I said, okay, your 5 paragraphs should stand for the part of your body when you are dancing shaku shaku. So when you are writing your introductory paragraph, that is when you are shaking your head. That's your introductory paragraph. That's the beginning of the dance. You are shaking your head. Then your next hand hit the other hand. That's when you are writing the bridge paragraph, the first paragraph. I mean, all this now did not come out because I just want to do it or dance in a classroom. I had already stepped into the roles. I've become empathetical with my students. Now I am teaching them the way they learn through dancing. You can see that boy there dancing there. Now you can see my board. It's not that we have computer in the classroom. You can see that the board is patched there, it's broken there. We are still learning, we are still managing, and we are still succeeding. So empathy will drive your critical thinking ability and your problem solving skills in the classroom. And that is the next thing you need to do. And as a critical thinker, you need to consider all perspectives in your classroom. You don't say you're a critical thinker and you're looking at it from one angle. What concerns an English teacher like me with dancing in the classroom? You can look at it now. Oh, English teacher dancing in the classroom, you must be an unserious person. But no, I decided not to consider only that narrow part of speaking English in my class. I had to consider other things. Apart from this, I have board games I use in my classroom. The chess game I have created in such a way that, yes, I can use it to teach grammar, part of speech, nouns, adjectives, and the rest in the classroom. Well, I may not be able to show that one here now. I also have rap songs. I'm going to show that one later. So Empathy will make you to think critically, and then you'll be able to solve problems from the student perspective, and everybody will learn at the same time. Everybody will learn together. So let me quickly move on to what is the next thing I have here now. Collaboration. Collaboration is key if you really want to succeed as a teacher. Collaboration is key if you really want to succeed as a teacher. You cannot stand alone. Now let's start from where we stopped. Critical thinking. Critical thinking and problem solving can only work when two heads come together. Yeah, don't think, yeah, you are the island, you can stand alone and think alone. No, your critical thinking will work when you consider perspectives. And you can only consider perspective when you relate with others. You are connecting with other teachers. You are relating with them. You are collaborating. You are talking. Remember, you don't know it all. You are not omnipotent. Omnipotent is somebody who can do everything. You are not omniscient. Omniscient is somebody who knows all things. You don't know everything. So if you want to think critically, you need to learn from others. You need to learn to take another person's perspective and consider it. Let me tell you this, there is no career in the 21st century that can succeed without collaboration. I have observed, even in the business world, the rich ones in the world there, talk about those great teachers that have succeeded, those great entrepreneurs that have succeeded, they had to work with other people. Then how much more teaching? So in teaching, well, there's this perspective I've discovered. Teachers, because we teach, we feel we know it all. And the society really doesn't help us too. They make us to believe that, yes, we know it all. As an English teacher now, once I go back to my community now, they can bring mathematics to me to come and solve. They can bring chemistry to me to come and solve. No, I am just an English teacher. I don't know chemistry as such. So we shouldn't think we know all too. Let's collaborate, work together with other people. I want you to learn this from me. There is one competition I want to win, and I'm looking for that competition to start. It has not started, and it's called a competition for collaboration. Yes, I'm looking for anybody, any organization that will say yes, who can be the best collaborator in the world. That is the competition I want to win now. I am bringing all teachers together on a platform. We call the platform Teacher X. I've told them, please don't bother that I have won an award or you have won an award. Let's come together as a country, as a continent, even in the entire world. Let teachers come together and have one voice. I must say, I don't know how it is in India, but I must say I've observed that teachers are too divided. We are too divided, and we are allowing this to divide us. We need to inculcate this first and then transfer it into our students. You cannot give what you don't have. So I move on to the next slide here. Once you have empathy, you are empathetic, you are thinking critically, you are collaborating very well. The next thing is to learn how to communicate. Yes, communication is key. You cannot succeed in collaboration without knowing how to communicate very well with your colleagues. We need to learn it. Now, I am a Nigerian. I have been communicating with PL. I've been communicating with the moderator Powell there, but I need to do more by learning how to pronounce their name. We've been talking, and now I greeted in your language now. You need to understand people's culture. You need to understand people's temperament. You need to understand people's personality. You need to understand how to respect others. You need to understand how to shift, how to respect basically, how to respect other people's culture and perspective. And all these ones are found in communication. Communication has four major keys. Four major keys. We have listening, we have speaking, we have reading, and we have writing skills. Now, all these things you need to learn how to create, how to work with them. And I must tell you, the most important of all these four skills is listening. As a good collaborator, as a good communicator, you must learn how to listen. You must learn how to listen. And then you must learn how to speak very well. Two, then you must learn reading. Okay, it is what you read that you can vomit out. You must learn how to read very well. Then your writing skill must be very sound. If there's one thing that is working for me as a teacher, is the fact that I have learned how to I have learned how to communicate. I've learned how to communicate. Communication rather is your major social skill. So we need to create this and work on this. And don't let us forget listening. When you learn how to listen very well, you can communicate effectively. You can understand others. You can solve a lot of conflict. And it is very important to imbibe this. So moving on to the next one is self-regulation. Yes, once you have learned to think critically, of course, you are doing well there. Of course, you are already empathetical, you are thinking critical and solving problems, you are collaborating, you are communicating. One thing you need to learn again is self-regulation, ability to control yourself towards a desired goal, ability to control yourself. We call it self-control. Yes, there will be conflict. You must learn conflict management. And conflict is best managed when you learn how to manage your own emotions. When you become emotionally intelligent, you understand others because it's a professional ground. Everybody will not think like you. You need to also learn how to shift ground. You cannot be winning all the time. You cannot be correct all the time. You cannot always have your way all the time. Your ability to self-regulate, to put yourself under control is key. And one of the things you can do that can help you here is self-discipline. Is self-discipline, and it is highly needed. Now, teachers and students need this very well. You need to just do this. So I'm going to stop at this point and share some of my pictures with you where I have done one or two things in the classrooms. I've shown you some previous pictures. Let me just go back a little bit into some of them. Then I will jump into, now see me here, down here, under collaboration. Now I collaborated beyond my physical environment. Yes, you can see the video call now. I was teaching teachers from other states, which I'm doing now. What I'm doing now is collaboration. So you need to collaborate beyond your physical environment. This is 21st century. The pandemic, the lockdown has brought this on us, and we need to still move on. And one of the ways of doing this is by leveraging technology. So that is me there, collaborating and training other teachers too. You've seen where I used creativity in my classroom. So let me show you other things I have done in my classroom. So I'm going to be explaining these pictures one by one. All right, now talking about helping others, teaching others, this is me. I was speaking at a particular conference on Teachers' Day. Now the next picture that you can see where we are cutting a tape was when I became the best teacher in Nigeria, doing all this. Gradually, I became the best teacher in Nigeria, and my school was given a block of 6 classrooms. We were given a block of 6 classrooms in my school. And then in the center is a lady representing the Minister of Education and some other education stakeholders in the country. So we are cutting the tape here now. Now to the right-hand side on the screen where you can see some young men standing together. These are teachers in Nigeria that have won several awards. We met at a competition. Now, interestingly, here we came for a competition. All these, about 7 of us here now, we came for a competition for us to determine the best teacher in Nigeria in another organization. I didn't win this competition, but we came together, we collaborated, and today now we are doing fine. We are friends, we are in connections together, we are doing great. Yes, competition brought us together, but collaboration is keeping us. You can see, competition brought us together, but collaboration is keeping us as one. The man here in the, the one on the, so you now on the left-hand side, the second on the left-hand side now, second from the left now, won the competition that year, and yet we are still friends. We are still friends together. We are working together. Now, downward here to your left-hand side was when I started collaborating with my students too and bringing them together. That come, we need to learn how to read. So we started what we call the Readers Club in Nigeria here, and we focused on female children, female students rather, and they are doing very well. The campaign was 1 book, 1 week, where we encourage them to pick a book and they will read it, and then they must finish a book in a week, regardless of the book, whether novels, subject book, or anyone. And almost all of these ones now are in the universities. This started in 2018, and they are doing fine there. Now, the next picture in the center here down was when I trained over 50 teachers on how to inculcate empathy using the empathical.org platform then. Now, over 50 of them came together from primary schools, and we learned, and today now we are growing together. I didn't claim that I had known it all, then I should keep the knowledge to myself. I share the knowledge with other teachers, and these were primary school teachers in Nigeria. Now you can see my students here. Now, practically these students were in my house. After school, and then we were collaborating with a school in India that year. We were supposed to draw some pictures of some monumental landmarks in Nigeria, and they would draw the same thing too. That was when I knew about Taj Mahal and some other monumental things in India. Were drawn, and then we were drawing our own, and then we also add our dance too. And this was also when I was teaching teachers. So I believe you want to see some of my skills in the classroom when we were dancing together. When we were dancing and we composed there was a particular concept in English language. We call it grammatical names and functions. It was difficult for some of the students to learn it straight. So we had to compose a song around it. And I think that should be the next slide now. I'm going to play that. I believe the slide can show, the voice will come up with it too. So let me know. These are my students now here. So let me quickly play the song. I'm watching my time. I want to be sure that I do less than 30 minutes so that we can have time for questions.
Yes, we have enough time. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I'm going to play this one. I should last about less than 1 minute. Can I confirm whether we can hear the sound? Was it audible, please? So that's the song there. And basically it's talking about grammatical names and functions, an aspect of English language where we said noun says who and what. Who and what will help us to know that we are dealing with a noun. Adjective, we want to know is an adjective, we say which. That's where we put in our pigeon here, we say which one you did. Then adverbs, we say when, where, how, and why. I mean, that's what we just put together in song. But if I had not stepped into their shoes to discover that, yes, these ones want to learn by singing, I believe we'll still be struggling with cramming things now. So that takes me to the next, another slide. So gradually, beyond my classroom now, I have decided now, you could probably, if you remember some of the things we did earlier, you won't see all this there. In that first class where I taught that boy with dancing, all this were not there. But when I became top 10 and with the prize money given to us, thanks to the Indian teacher, Ranjit Desale, that decided to share the prize money with us too. We're able to do this in our classroom. Now, the students now may actually not need to be dancing anymore because they're even seeing another thing that is even keeping them engaged. Now, digital literacy now has been introduced now into English language now because I know that this is where they are. This is where we are in 21st century. This is the future. Technology is the future of the children of 21st century. So I was able to equip a particular classroom with digital gadgets, which is a smart board now. I don't think any school in this area in my environment has this as a public school. Now, you can see how my students are learning. They came in very quiet and they are learning well. You can see this now. Widely across the globe. We have four words here, and none is a verb except even finite or non-finite verb. So we have another phrase. We want to find out, okay, widely is an adverb, across is a preposition, be is an article, road is a noun, so none is a verb. Not long after the governor's official program. just a short clip of what is now happening in my classroom. Now, beyond dancing, now we've introduced technology into the classroom where students can learn. And ordinarily, these students wouldn't be this calm. But because they are in a new environment, you can see them picking a pen and writing, and they are learning very well. And every day I ask them whether they are enjoying the class. I mean, this is just like 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and things are doing fine there. So now let me move on to the last part of my slide, where I will be talking about creativity. Now, all this that I have done, talk of empathy, talk of critical thinking, talk of collaboration, talk of communication, talk of self-regulation, all this should produce in you one thing, should make you a creative teacher. All this should make you a creative teacher. So what makes you stand out among the rest is your ability to be creative. It's your ability to see things differently. Now, the totality of your empathy, critical thinking, collaboration, communication should be sensed in your sustainable and efficient creativity. We should be able to see this in your sustainable and efficient creativity. Your creativity actually relies, yes, on your imaginative power. How do you become creative? Your ability to imagine, what can my students need? How can I help them better? Sincerely, people ask me whether I sleep. Every night I sleep, I think of my students. I think of how to make learning better for them. What new thing can I do? And that is what is giving birth to creativity. And another ways of being creative is the company you keep. Who are your friends as a teacher? Are you keeping a company of those who are creative, who are going ready to go forward? Yes, I have so many friends, and all my friends, I must tell you, as teachers, they are creative guys. These are the ones giving me, like, teaching me how to create PowerPoint, teaching me how to use module classroom, teaching me how to use this. We are all together and I'm learning from them. Then I'm practicing it in a classroom. And finally, your creativity should be expressed through technology. Express your creativity with technology now, because that is the future they belong to. And before I call it a day here, I must tell you all, thank you for having me, and thank you for being a teacher. You are highly celebrated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olasunkanmi, for such an insightful presentation. I think all the skills that you have mentioned here for 21st century are, I think, applicable to all of us. It's not just for teachers, but I think in any profession also, or even if you're a homemaker, these professions are still extremely useful. So, Patkini, let me just quickly summarize all the key learnings and the important points that you said. One of the things that really stuck to me is teach the way the students learn. So you have to see, that was a very wonderful way of putting it. We have such conditioning as to how we are supposed to teach the students, but actually different students have different ways of learning. And if we can connect to that, that is when the chance of being creative and imaginative can also come through that. Empathy, which is sahanubhuti, is, I think, such a the most important skill set today, that we should be able to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and see what they need, then tailor make our teachings for them. In critical thinking, as you have said, and what you did with the local dance of teaching letter writing skills, every paragraph, one paragraph with the head, the second paragraph with your hands. That's a great way to remember. So music and movement is a great way to remember all of these points that you are trying to teach through the curriculums. Collaboration, as you said, is also a very, very important skill, no matter where you are working, because it means that you are leaning into the skills of other people as well. As you said, somebody is great in technology, somebody could be far more creative, more imaginative. Imagine all of these people coming together, using all their skill sets for the development of a school, of their classroom. And communication, I think we all talk too much and listen very, very little. So one very, very important takeaway from your communication skill also was to be a good listener to what someone else is telling us, what the student is saying, or what your teacher community, the teacher colleagues are saying. Self discipline, which means managing your conflict, managing your conflict with your colleagues, managing conflict with students, learning to manage your emotions. I think as teachers, if we are able to control our own emotions, that is what students are also learning from us. Not everything can be taught verbally, but these are also the non-verbal skills that students learn from us. And of course, the last was creativity, the ability to imagine, to constantly keep thinking how I can be better, how I can take help of my colleagues, what is the need of my classroom, how can I innovate, imagine something that is tailor-made to their needs. And I think this is a fantastic lesson for all of us to understand what the skills for the 21st century are going to be. And we do have a couple of questions that have come in. And so there is Lata Kulkarni who's asking us, how do you use technology or digital tools for betterment of education?
Okay, that's a question. Yes, technology actually on its own cannot help education. Technology is a tool. So it starts from one, knowledge. How much do you know about this technology? Long before lockdown, I never knew so much about PowerPoint. I never knew so much about. I only type my lesson notes, put it in few things, and then I will teach it using other styles. But I had to go for knowledge. So basically, go for knowledge. Learn the basic tools. And I will advise students, teachers, learn how to use slides, learn how to create slides. Microsoft PowerPoint is good for you. Then on your own now, then become creative. Look at your students. What will they like? Be careful of how you mix colors together using PowerPoint. So that's for that one. Now there are basic PowerPoint and there are basic technology you can use. Facebook is there that you can take advantage of now. Other social media handles are there where you can take advantage of them and it can enhance your learning. YouTube is there where you can learn at the same time produce your own learning to a form of flipped classroom. So technology can just do amazing things. It all depends on your knowledge and your creativity.
Thank you so much. We have another couple of questions. I'm just coming to this. Can you tell about your flipped classroom project? Jyoti Patil wants to
Okay.
know about your flipped classroom project.
Flipped classroom. Yes, yes, that's a very good one. Thank you for asking about that. I will explain two things here. The regular flipped classroom model is where you, for instance, produce a video lesson, give it to the student to go and watch at home, and then you come to the classroom for assessment. However, we didn't have that one available for us. So I have what I call the modified one where we flip roles. That's what it was meant in that story of mine that was read. We flip roles. I become the student, they become the teachers. So they take the activities and they teach them. So it makes the student to own their learning. This 21st century, one of the ways of achieving self-regulation in students is making them to own their learning. So they become the teacher, they prepare very well like me, and then they teach others. Gradually, they become the teacher of themselves. Somebody says that in 21st century, teachers should become learners of their subject, while students should also become teachers of their own subjects too. So that's for that one. Another way is by exchanging materials in the classroom, they become examiners. Of course, it is not the official one. We just write an essay, then they will now mark another person's essay, assuming the role of an examiner. In that way, they are feeling what other people are feeling because they are students too. At the same time, they are becoming conscious that, okay, anytime I write, this is exactly what an examiner can do for me. And that's empathy playing out there. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question based exactly on that. We have a question from Rajendra Bharate, who's asking you the difference between sympathy and empathy.
Okay, that's interesting. Yes, I think I have a very fantastic answer for that one. Sympathy is when you are not in the shoe of that person and you only pity, no solution. Empathy is when your emotion drives you into the shoe of that person. You do not just only pity, but you pity with passion in such a way that you want to solve the problem for the person. So what I had was empathy for my student because I stepped into their roles. They were not learning. They could not read. So I started looking for solution. Empathy will drive you towards solution. Sympathy will only make you pity the person. So I think that explains it.
Very well, yes. There's another question from Prahlad Darade. He wants to know which is the innovation that you were contesting along with Ranjit Disle for the Global Prize. What was the innovation that you were contesting for?
Okay, we contested for Global Teacher Prize, where all teachers in the world are supposed to come with their stories, tell your stories, tell us your creativity in the classroom, tell the world how you have gone above and beyond. And part of the things I told you today were the things I presented using flipped classroom, using form-based learning, dancing in the classroom, rapping in the classroom, using game. And I believe Ranjit also used technology in his own way and in giving education to the less privileged, especially girls in a village. So, and at the end, my good friend Ranjit won the contest, and it's still a good one for us too.
Absolutely. There's a very interesting question from Rushali who wants to know how can we make, since all learning is from distance learning, it's all from home now, how can we make our online classes more alive, more interesting, that more students will participate in the learning process?
I must tell you, it's been a big challenge. 21st century or lockdown came suddenly on us, and many of us never learned how the pedagogy of online classes. Yes, we were all used to. So many of us are just learning how to engage the students on online lessons, either the what do you call it, synchronous or the asynchronous one. So uh, to make it work for you as a teacher, I will go for the asynchronous one where you can prepare your lesson readily. Take your time to prepare it, but make it as short as possible. Remember, the attention span online is not like the attention span in the classroom. The student will respect you and want to listen. Online, they can decide to off the camera and go away. So make it as short as possible, make it as fun as possible, make it as entertaining as possible for them, but make it into chunks. If you want to teach, for instance, biology of, let's say, evolution, don't teach everything in 1 hour, 30 minutes. No, you bore the student out. Chunk it into 10 minutes, episode one, episode two, episode three, and that is how they will learn. I think that is the method I have been using, and it has been working for me.
That is a brilliant practical tip that you've just given, Olasunkanmi, that that instead of having one long lecture for 45 minutes, break it down into 10 minutes, because you're so correct that children don't have a longer attention span. And 10 minutes is something what the teacher is also able to see how well they have understood that. So that's a very important practical tip that he's just given. There is Mr. Chandan Prasad who's asking you, how can we deal with slow learners?
Hmm. Slow learners, you see, in your classroom, there's what we call differentiation. That's one of the styles of teaching now, where you teach all the students together at the same time individually, with a sense of giving different assessments at the same time. We call it differentiation, where you teach. So I will advise that you go for a course on differentiation, where we call it, or they call it multi-level learning also, where you can teach the slow learners, the kinesthetic learners, the audiovisual learners, the visual learners together. So there are courses on that I will advise, because this is a whole course, it's a whole seminar in itself. So use differentiation in the classroom and look for the tips that can help you. So kindly go online, look for tips on differentiation, and you'll see that you are going to achieve fantastic results.
Right. There is Mr. Kundan who wants to know which medium for children is useful to teach. Is it mother tongue or is it English language?
In my school,
In any school,
oh,
what is the preferred medium that children will find it useful in terms of learning? Is it your own mother tongue or is it English?
okay. Personally, as someone who loves my language very well, as a very traditional young man, sincerely, I would still love to teach even English language in my mother tongue. I would still love to teach biology. I would still love to teach chemistry. I would still love to teach physics. I would still love to teach accounting, commerce, literature in my mother tongue, because that is the language of your emotion. That's the language you are attached to. There is an emotional attachment you have to it. And I noticed that in my environment once, and there was time I tested it. I taught English language using the local language in the environment, the immediate language of the environment, which was pidgin. And the students could understand it better than when I came to the classroom. So I will advise, however, let's look at the national policy. In my country here, the national policy spells it out that from the first 3 years in school, you
Mhm.
use the language of the immediate community. The first 3 years in school, you use the language of the immediate community. Then the other years, you use the official language. And in Nigeria, our official language is English language. But I wish that is not the case. I wish we can teach some subject mixing it. Let me tell you a story here quickly. My biology teacher in my year, that is grade 12, 10, grade 10, in grade 10, taught us in the mixed language, English and Yoruba language. Do you know what? Everything she taught me in my grade 10, I still remember today. How she would describe photosynthesis and everything, I still remember everything today because she mixed the language. So I will advise if it can work. However, because of the policy of your country, well, you may just dance along with what the policymakers are saying.
Hmm. So what you're saying is it is more beneficial that you're also able to inculcate your mother tongue also in teaching, because obviously the local children will find a more closer relationship to their own mother tongue.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. We have a couple of people asking us the same question, which is, what is your philosophy of education? What does education mean for you? Since
Mhm.
you've been on, one of the top global teachers, and you have interacted with teachers from all over the world, where do you think that what the future of education is, or where are we going? What is the philosophy of education today in these
Uh,
times?
Oh, my philosophy of education basically, I'm an ardent follower of John Dewey, and John Dewey believes in pragmatism. John Dewey believes in teaching students from their own perspective. John Dewey believes in learners owning their learning. It is not the teachers. In John Dewey's theory, we believe that you are a facilitator in the classroom. You are to facilitate learning. You are not to come, you have learned it. It is not, as we joke, it's not your learning, it is the student learning. So it is student-centered own. And the world is going there gradually. I tell colleagues, teachers, who told you what you want to teach the students, they don't already know it. They know it. The only thing is that you have it structured. Who said I don't know photosynthesis? I know my grasses in the compound are green. I know that if they are covered with black nylon, they will not be green anymore. But the teacher can explain it better. So why not give it to me to learn? So basically, my teaching philosophy hinges on John Dewey philosophy of pragmatism. Give the learning to the student. Let them discover learning. Let them discover themselves. Use project method. Use any method, but put the student at the center.
Absolutely, that's such a wonderful thought. We have another question from Suraj Landge, who's asking you, how do we encourage students to use their own imagination power?
Yeah, the power of imagination starts from mentoring. There's what we call scaffolding, where you are taking me to my theory now, pragmatism. In pragmatism, there's what we call scaffolding. Scaffolding is like modeling learning. You cannot give what you don't have, as I said earlier. So model creativity for these students too. Model creativity for them as a teacher in a classroom, and they will follow suit. Model ability to think beyond the classroom for them. Take them on a field trip. Take them beyond the four walls of the classroom. Play videos that are beyond them for them. I was with a student and I played a video of is it homogram or what? This is in technology now. Hologram or so, where and the boy, being a science student, could see things without saying any word to him. He was able to learn. So his imagination became wider that, wow, I want to go into this. I have a student in my school. She finds it difficult to sit down in the classroom to learn. But take Angela out of the classroom to go and learn outside. She wants to learn more. She's into robotics today now. She wants to do more. So teachers, you can help them, one, by modeling creativity for them. Two, take them outside the classroom, let them see the world beyond. You can do that through technology, or you can take them through field trip. And before you know it, they are creating solutions. They are becoming imaginative. And then you too, you'll be happy for it as a teacher.
Absolutely. And today I think we are fortunate to have the power of technology, and that there is so much available at our fingertips. that I think, there are on every subject we can show students so much. So I'm sure the teachers, we do not have an issue in that. There's another question from Mr. Rajendra who wants to know how critical thinking is related to problem solving.
Okay, critical thinking is the foundation of problem solving. Critical thinking hinges on three things: your ability to see things from other people's perspective, your ability to consider other people's perspective, your ability to look for evidence-based things. So when you are doing all these, you are not doing it in the space of an existing problem. You are doing it because you want to solve a problem. So when you have a problem now and others are saying it is impossible, a critical thinker is looking at things from another perspective and is considering other ways to solve this. Ordinarily, I could have relaxed that oral English could not be taught in my classroom. Oral English is phonology in the classroom. Now, because we had no technological gadgets to pronounce some of the sounds in English language, but I thought out of the box to solve that problem. So I introduced rap into the classroom where we did something like Badaga, Manaun, Larawaya. We started rapping in the class. So I thought critically to solve the problem of inability to get technological gadgets. Now we have it. I now need to think critically to solve another problem, which time will not permit me to start discussing here now. So critical thinking is the foundation to problem solving.
Right. Absolutely. There's a question from Seema Savant who wants to know what types of evaluation tools should be used for online classes. How to evaluate your online sessions.
Okay, how to evaluate online classes is very interesting. You see, you cannot, for instance, I tried it one day in a class like this, and I said, if you are there, answer my question. And the student kept mum. So I now had to use Google Form and Microsoft Form, where the student becomes their own assessor. The answers are there. So as soon as they are clicking the answer online, it's telling them whether they are right or wrong. They have enough time to go over it and check it again and correct themselves. So I'm going to advise that use any of the online forms, quizzes, Google Form, Microsoft Forms to test them. There now the students are becoming their own assessor. Where they are wrong, they can go back and mark it again and test it again until they learn. We don't need to go the traditional way. And for everyone that is attempting your question, you can see it and then you can pick the best. I am going through a course now where you are allowed to attempt the assessment, the question evaluation as many times as you can, and the best is kept for you. You can do the same thing. Must your students fail? No. Let them do it again. Doing it again means they are learning again. They are learning again. So use online tools like Microsoft Forms, Google Form, quizzes, Kahoot, and some other technological tools to test your students.
Yes, thank you so much. There's a question from Sandeep Salunke who wants to know, do you punish your students? What are your views on punishment?
Okay, I have stopped punishing my students. I think I'm proud to say that. Yes, many of us were trained. We're not trained. We were brought up in schools with punishment, corporal punishment, flogging. So when we became teachers, we felt that was the right thing. We started flogging. But one day I sat down and I asked myself, my students are here now, they are listening to me. Okay. I asked myself, is this the right thing? Did I like it when I was being flogged in class? And I discovered that yes, I was really punished, especially by my father. I discovered that was not the way to go. It wasn't expressing love. So instead of punishing my students, I can withdraw their benefits. I can make them to spend extra hours to do other things. So I don't punish them. So the best way to handle things now, give them time. Communicate what you want to achieve with them. Communicate the goals with them. Hello, class. I want you to be in school by 9 o'clock. Don't come late. If you come late, we have a video to watch for 1 hour. If you come late, we won't be able to cover the video. Please, everybody, come on time. You have communicated to them. They can hear you. When they come late, ask them, why are you late? Okay, what can we do? Okay, it means you are not going for your break. Your break is 30 minutes. That means you are going for break for 20 minutes so that we can cover up. You are not they are not animals. You are not beating them. So I don't punish in my classroom. I withdraw privileges to an extent. I relate with them. I communicate with them, and I still give them rooms to improve, and they always also improve too.
Absolutely. We have a question from Jitendra. And it's a very relevant question today for India, that poor students who cannot afford mobiles and who do not have the internet facility, how do we help them learn in this COVID situation?
Hmm. It's a serious situation. It's a
Yes,
serious
and those
situation.
who don't have a mobile phone, those who don't have internet connectivity, what are those students supposed to do? How do we connect
So
as
I'm going to speak to that teacher or those teachers in that please, can you do more? Let me appeal as one of the teachers now in the world. Let me appeal, and I'm going to tell you what you are going to do, but you need to just do more. There's a friend in Nigeria. I'm trying to remember his name. He won an award recently for what he did. I'm going to tell you what he did. He would print, he has his own printer, he has his own computer, but the student did not have. So he will print worksheets, and then he would trek some kilometers and drop it in a box. Like maybe he had a student, about 20 of them in that community. He would drop it in a box. The student will go there every day or once twice in a week to pick their own worksheet, solve it, return it to the box, and then the teacher will go 2 days after, go and pick it, drop another one there, mark it, return and pick. So they call it drop box or something like that. So they were doing that because of the students that were not learning. That was one. Another one, a particular teacher will record lesson, video, audio, and then we'll go to the community and play it for them. Will go with his own computer. You can go with, if you have the computer, play it for a group of 10 students like that. So you can just go out of your way to help these children. And please kindly do it for them because they need to learn. They need to learn. I'm appealing, kindly do anything you can to make them learn.
We have a question in Marathi from Varsha Jadhav, and she would like to know your views on value education and how can they be effective today.
Okay, value education, if I understand it from my own perspective, is
Yes,
inculcating the right value into the children
yes.
growing up. And especially, we need to go back to our cultural values. Our culture before we have all the cultural integration and other things were fine. As a Nigerian, I can relate easily with the culture of India. I think we have a lot in common. Our adage, our proverbs, our stories, our folk tales are almost the same thing. I think tortoise is one is one corny animal that we both use as an example in our folk tales. So we can inculcate our values back now through storytelling. We can inculcate our values through literatures. We can inculcate our values through our music. We can inculcate our values through dressing. Then we can inculcate as well through communication. And it is very important. We need to take our values to the children. And how to best do it is to start early. Let's start early. Let them know what we stand for as a community, what we stand for as a society, and what this has achieved for us.
Yes. It's very interesting that you have made. म्हणजे वर्षा जाधव, वर्षाताई त्यांनी असं म्हटलंय की व्हॅल्यू एज्युकेशन मध्ये लुक ॲट व्हॅल्यू एज्युकेशन थ्रू आपलं कल्चर आहे, आपलं म्युझिक आहे, आपलं कॉस्ट्युम आहे आणि खूप लहान वयापासून आपण व्हॅल्यू एज्युकेशन या सर्व गोष्टींना धरून आपण मुलांना लहानपणापासूनच शिकवलं पाहिजे. That's very interesting, lovely thing that you said, that value education can come from all of these, from our roots, from our culture, from our heritage, and that is what children should know of, learn from every country. Um, we had Mr. Bhaskar Kulkarni who wants to know what is your opinion of the current examination system, which is more focused on memorization rather than application of knowledge.
Yes, it is time we changed. It is time we changed. It is time we introduced the new thing. Now, what is examination? Examination is not just for you to sit down and pass and move on. Examination should, at the end of the day, make you a problem solver. Examination should make you an innovator. Examination should make you someone who can contribute to the community and to the society. And that is what examination. And I think I need to appeal to all the national policy makers, all the policy makers in the world. I think it's time we shifted from the traditional way of testing the cramming ability, remote rote learning to real application. We can even test collaboration. Who said we cannot have examination where 3 or 4 students can work together and produce a result, even in the exam hall. Who said we cannot do that? So we need to shift. Examination for application is what we are supposed to have now.
This is the last question, Olasunkanmi, that we are taking from the teachers. There is a teacher who is Mr. Riaz, and he is a physics teacher. He wants to know which online method should be used for descriptive questions. And use them for assessment.
I don't know whether he's looking at it from English language angle. Okay, let me give this. You can use a picture method where you can have different pictures or a particular picture and ask the students to describe what they can see, both what they can see right in front of them and what they can imagine. I'm trying to see what I can. You can just give them a picture of a tree. Tell them maybe a man sitting under the tree. Tell them to describe what they can see physically. That's, you are doing descriptive learning with that one, and the descriptive essay. Then at the end of the day, you can tell them, okay, beyond this picture, can you tell us what you can imagine? Who is this man? You can equally describe that one too. I think that one will go as an English teacher.
Absolutely. I think we're going to end the webinar with the last question from me. And that is, how do you keep yourself so motivated, inspired? Who has been your role model?
Who has been my role model? So many teachers are my role models. My friends are my role model in Nigeria. I give it to all my friends like Olalekon Adeko, Ewa Odiobola, and some other teachers coming up too. They have always been there upholding me. My teachers that taught me secondary school have been, so many people have been my role models anyway. And keeping myself motivated is just the fact that I derive joy in seeing my students getting better, in seeing my students smiling and learning better. So it's like a self-motivation. Once I see my students getting better, I'm happy. I want to do more. We are solving problems.
Thank you so much. It was so beautifully said. We have many, many, many questions. I think we will take another whole
I can see it here.
look at. But what I have done is I've tried to take questions very relevant to our topic today, to your presentation. So sorry to all our attendees. सगळे प्रश्न आज घेता येणं शक्य नाहीये. Thank you so much for such a wonderful response that everybody has given. Unfortunately, it's impossible for him to answer all of these questions. पण आय थिंक बहुतेक करून आपण त्यांचे जे मेन प्रश्न होते या वेबिनारच्या संबंधित आपण ते सगळ्यांचं आपण उत्तर दिलेलं आहे. Thank you so much, Olasunkanmi, for coming to this webinar, for interacting with our teachers. And this is the first ever that we've had an international teacher of your caliber to come and speak to us, to give his time. And you've really taught us such wonderful things. It's been lovely to, even for me, to learn from you. There is so much I think that you have explained from the skills of 21st century, which are, I think, relevant to all of us, whether teacher community or not. And thank you for all those wise words, knowledge, information, wisdom, all your time and effort that you have given to us this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming here. And thank you to all the attendees as well. याच्या पुढे सुद्धा we will be having many more such webinars जे आपण आंतरराष्ट्रीय शिक्षकांना आपण बोलवतो आहोत पुढच्या आठवड्यापासून परत. आणि please do attend. We still have lots more interesting teachers to share their viewpoints, their inspiration, how they have done innovation in their own classrooms. And we look forward for all of you to join us on our future webinars. Do get back to us, write to us, let us know how what you have thought, what more questions you have. Write to us on www.waitt.in. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Olasunkanmi. It was lovely, lovely having a conversation with you. Hope to see you again very soon. Everyone has requested that you come back again, and we will very surely do that.
Sure, thank you. At any time, call on me. India is my second home. I will surely be around.
Thank you so much. परत एकदा सर्वांना सगळ्या समूहाच्या वतीने धन्यवाद. Thank you so much for being here.